Oh, everybody welcome. Roses like a investigator, hell, huh? Everybody welcome. Roses like investigator. So, guys, I am recording today from my new. I have an office now, okay, and it's it's in a co-working, co-working situation. Now the difference is I have my little key. So it's nice. It's nice to do this. But it's my first day here, so I realize I don't have, all my stuff that I normally do have. So, and maybe you can hear the stuff. There's people around. I have the option of just doing what you call it? Like making sure that it's just a voice so that I don't know if you can hear noise. It's really pretty quiet. But it's good for me to be here to organize my stuff. I'm gonna get a cabinet and to separate, the home life and the work life, and to have my own little space here where I can, where I can create and organize myself. As you know, I am a little, I can get a little disorganized. So it's good. It's good to be here. I will be moving slowly, getting, my stuff here. So, for example, I put on my makeup earlier today, but I don't have my powder or anything, so I feel a little naked. My hair is a little, whatever. I don't have an earring, but it's okay. But this is me here, my office, new life. But it's weird. It doesn't necessarily feel like it. But I'm glad. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad to be in this little chapter, but I barely slept because I was like nervous. Anyway, so guys, I wanted to now it's about 5:30. I have to go run some errands, and I want to avoid the mistake that I've done. I don't say mistake, it is what it is. I tend to post the video so late now. So let's see. I just want to do a quick look at what's going on, and let's do that, okay? And then if there's more stuff happening, then I'll update later. But I want to make sure I get this video out today, not too late. So let's get started. Okay, so what happened today? The big news today is the firing of Mike Waltz. And guys, by the way, you'll notice that maybe the volume of my voice is a little lower because, again, there's nobody really next to me or anything, and there will be days when there will be, but it's just, this new space. I have my crystals and everything, but it's a change. So forgive me if if I am uh a little what you call it, right? I'm kind of getting situated. I have like I said, I have my crystals to protect me here. But and I moved the desk around. I'm experimenting so that you look at there's this white wall in the back. You look at it as opposed to the other glass partitions. Okay, so we'll see. We'll figure it out. All right, so here we see Donald Trump sacks National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. All right, let's see. Decision comes after scandal over use of group chat to sorry, discuss military attacks in Yemen. So Donald Trump has tapped Secretary of State Marco Rubio to be the interim national security advisor after firing Mike Waltz and his deputy following a scandal over the use of a private messaging app to discuss military plans. Trump announced the move on Truth Social on Thursday afternoon, saying that Waltz would be nominated to serve as U.S. ambassador to the UN, keeping a prominent role in the administration's foreign policy team. So let's go back to his face here. So it's interesting, guys, okay, let's do the protection before I have to ask for protection. A bit of furry blade. Come in on top of my head. As I breathe in, I fill my lungs. As I breathe in, I create a circle. I create a circle. Step into it. Huh. Step into it. I feel protected. I step into it. I feel connected. I like to step informations come only from the highest sources. That it create the good and only the good. The good for the good people. The good for the good people. So also, before I start. Wait, I change. See, I move stuff around and then I get a little bit lost here. No, wait. Let's see how it works like this. Okay, stop sharing. Hold on a second. Oh, that's nice, right? I have a secondary light here. So, all right. So, guys, okay, so I like it better. I just have this clip-on light, figure it out. So, also wanted to say, I know I went overboard yesterday with the singing. But and I wanted to explain this. It's that I know it's maybe it was even I said stop. It was a bit much, but it's because it really does help raise the vibration because sometimes the stuff is so dark that it you can't just just say it like straight because it's almost as if the playfulness I know it's is what allows me to look into this. Does it make sense? I know some of you prefer that I would, if I were some sort of newscaster, but sometimes I need a humor because it is very intense, energetically speaking, and the humor really, even if it's silly, bad singing, all that, but it helps to counterbalance the hardcore stuff going on. Okay, so thanks for being patient. Today is not going to be one of those, right? Because it's just focused on the one situation here. So going back to him, what's interesting about Waltz is that at the beginning, right, it was clear that he was the one who gave access to the journalist from the Atlantic. Now, the person who ends up becoming more ridiculous is Hegseth, and also Hegseth has all these other uh, messes going on. So, but it's interesting that he was the one who was fired, and I was listening to the Bulwark, which is former Republicans, I guess, or no, never Trumpers, and they were saying, I forgot who it was, honestly, that according to from their perspective, Waltz was basically a relative moderate, right, compared to the other people in the administration. So that was I'm gonna say that was interesting. Okay, and so for them, the fact that they're firing him suggests that they're pushing away the more moderate folks. Although although it's hard to, right? I mean, at this stage, how could you possibly be considered moderate if you're in this administration? So that's just the introduction. Now let's see what happens. Okay, the question, what happens? Why did they decide to fire him? Well, I see first the Joker had Seth next to him, and he knows he's a Joker, but they're all kind of nervous because they, of course, everyone knows that they are inept, and that Mike Waltz was in fact associated with the so-called rhinos, right? The Republicans are they're not MAGAs. But at the same time, it wasn't because I then I wonder, was he scapegoat? No, it says no, he was there was a reason to fire him because of that scandal. And then, but what's interesting is at the same time, I see the figure of Laura Loomer, and I'm sure you guys have seen on and off comments that Laura Loomer was the person who um was like the whisperer, like she was talking to Trump about, I forgot who it was, another person, like she gets people fired, like she talks to him, she gets people fired. And so I see that Laura Loomer was the one pushing him out also. But why? didn't they fire? No, it's saying Hagsat. They really saying Russians really want Hagsat in place because he's really bad and they have access to his phone. But okay, and then guys, you know, I'll show you this. Let me show you this thing. It's unbelievable. Okay, this photo. Let me show you this. It's so interesting. Photos show Mike Waltz checking signal during yesterday's cabinet meeting. Unreal. So you can even see all of the people that he is talking to, and you recognize all of them, right? And you can even, let's see, actually, wow, look, the text from wow, JD Vance. It's the security level really is really terrible. So anyway, so he was photographed. So it's not like, again, he's not innocent, but I still think that in a way Hegseth is more dangerous. Is that right? Okay, so and the other thing is that he's going to have another job at the UN. So what happens next? And how does he feel? Humiliated. And he says, well, but they wanted us to use Signal. That was the whole point. We were told not to use any official means of communication. And it's saying this photograph here, right, that we saw. Okay, let's see, right? You could see, okay, let me okay, let's see if without me here. Okay, so and you can see, right, the text I showed you about JD Vance. So what happens to him next? What happens to him next? He feels very demoralized. Then he falls. He's walking, he trips, he falls. It's interesting because I see him falling and I don't know, and I get the sense that he's really afraid for his life. And that he knows that what Trump is going to try to do is to scapegoat him and blame him for all these things. So I see him walking and then he collapses and then he wakes up. So is he in danger of passing away? No, no, it's just that's the state, that's the energy and the situation that they are facing, people in this administration. Okay, so what happens next? And it shows me it's sinking ship, the rat's running. Okay, so and it's saying it's not going to stop now that and it's not completely gone either. They're going to like he's still in the administration. And it's saying it's very hard, Rosie, to get the people to betray their country. It's not so easy to find. It's not as easy. There's a lot of them, but not as many as if you didn't have to do that. Okay, so all right, so what do we need to know about this week? I see this, I think there may be turnover in the administration, but they're pushing forward and they're not understanding their resistance. By resistance, I don't even mean us, right? I mean that things are it's hard to do the things they want to do. Oh, and yesterday I saw that okay, let's see. That piece of news that the thing that I told you guys, remember how I had said it. I had said it that I thought that Bukele was not interested in like he played this game. It's again, it's not that he is it's not that he's a nice guy, no, but that he did not want to do the things that Trump wanted him to do to the guy. So here is a piece of news here. Bukele cares more about Obregón Garcia's rights than Trump does. Okay. Turns out that El Salvador's Nayib Bukele, the self-styled world's coolest dictator, had some basic lessons in dictatorship to learn at the feet of top Donald Trump. In a communication that U.S. officials characterized as urgent, Bukele also wanted assurances that each of the deportees was in fact a member of the transnational drug gang Tren de Aragua. All of this has now been reported in a devastating New York Times story documenting how Trump and the administration played Bukele in El Salvador, and how the cozy Oval Office photo op between Bukele and Trump papered over Trump's failure to hold up his end of the bargain. As it turned out, none of the deportees received the due process to which the Supreme Court has held. Unanimously, all are entitled so that a court could determine their gang status. Moreover, untold numbers of the deportees have no criminal record, and at least some were shipped there by mistake, including 8 women. Secot is male only, and most notoriously Kilmar Albrega Garcia, whom several U.S. officials have conceded was sent there by mistake. Okay. All right. So, okay. So let's see what is happening here with this. I also get the impression that he doesn't want, like, he thinks that Trump is not going to stay very long and that he could face consequences from the US later on. He's more worried about that. The other thing, guys, we know that, and this is like what's crazy, that this gang MS-13, not the one that they accused one of them or some of them being the so-called the Tren Dogwa thing, but that MS-13, Bukele made a deal with them, and part of the deal meant extraditing the MS-13 leaders, I guess, back to El Salvador, which they did apparently. And we know that prison in the US is much harsher for them. I mean, it may not be like violent like El Salvador, but they're not likely to leave. Whereas in El Salvador, because they have made a deal with Bukele, they're likely to be freed. Okay. So that's therein lies the irony. And I do think that Bukele is getting uncomfortable because they're now digging a little too much into the whole thing. Like he does not want people to look too deep into it. So what's going to happen here with their alliance? Yeah, I see that soon there's a kind of like how do you say it? They separate as if, but he's like, no, I don't want to deal with him anymore. I'm done. But I think as he collapses, as Trump does, and I think it's likely to happen, Bukele does not want, right? He doesn't want the consequences that went to Trump to affect him. Because in fact, I mean, not to say that he's not a great guy or anything, but like these were choices of Trump, and Trump does have more power, right, to make things happen. So he doesn't want to have to be the one holding it back, basically. That, and I see that he's like, when I was first doing the crypto thing, which is how I knew of him before, to be honest. He's all like, into the Bitcoin stuff. It was high profile, but not as high profile as this. And now it's saying he's putting El Salvador in this like really complicated legal quagmire, and he wants nothing to do with this. And it's saying, guys, I think it's like I don't see, and I get this too, that he knows how unpopular it would be over there for him if he decides to arrest these Latino citizens. Some of them are from El Salvador, and others are from Venezuela. Like he doesn't want to, like, the population would not be happy if they see him committing these acts of basically essentially racism, right? Like putting aside the violence, that the theater of violence, or at least threatening violence. But it's one thing when they do it themselves, but it's another to let the gringo president dictate what happens to people, especially innocent people. So I say he knows these are people innocent, and the population there knows too. So he does not want to lose power. Okay. And he feels like he's now in a weak position. So I see sooner rather than later, this whole thing is going to derail like everything else that Trump does. Fingers crossed. Okay. All right. So his spirit. Okay. So what is it? Rose is going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You're saying. Take it easy. It's going to be okay. What else? So it's interesting. I'm getting something because sometimes, guys, I listen to things or I read about those horrible type people and like their dreams of like creating this horrific society and and the things they're doing. And then I get too that evil never doesn't last. This like look at history, look at what happened in the World War II with Germany and Hitler. It didn't last. So the same way, this is not going to last because they don't really have a goal. They want total destruction and they're saying they're messing with the other billionaires too. So now they put themselves in a difficult situation. So it's saying keep calm, do meditation, stay in the light. Don't, singers, don't listen to too much though. I know it's like it's hard, but focus on the positive, focus on seeing the world as you want it to be. Okay, so I want to keep today's video short because I don't know, it was just an experiment because I'm starting to think that it's better that I do, even if I do like one or even two videos, but they're short and they're earlier in the day. So let's see how it goes. Okay, and again, thanks for watching. Bye. Bye.
Prayer and energy time. Let's use this time to send energy to people healing and going through complex health challenges. Their bodies need the energy we send them. Bo, recuperating from intestinal surgery at the Mount Sinai Hospital, battling cancer and winning. I spoke to her today and I felt her mother telling me she will survive and thrive. Cecilia, her sister, visits her daily. Cecilia is herself also battling cancer, and she's also winning. Bella is also undergoing cancer treatment. Let's envision her pain free and 100% cancer free. Treatment. Let's send Bo, Cecilia, and Bella energy. Bo, Cecilia, and Bella are fully healed, full of energy, cancer free, and proud to tell this story of great health and recovery. Okay, so just going to be silent for a bit as I send them energy right now. And I hope you do the same. And also, you can think of others that your loved ones, someone that you feel may be in need of energy, and focus on them. Okay? Okay, so let's start. I'll be silent here for a little bit. Thank you again. Let's create this circle of energy around them. And so it is.